Hello and welcome everyone to my first tutorial for technical analysis and trading. Today in the video I would like to shortly introduce the technical analysis to you and how I went or how I got familiar with technical trading. So I basically started to look into crypto, Bitcoin, and technical analysis back in April 2021, so that was last year in April. I went in quite at the beginning of a big run actually. So if we look here at April 21, Bitcoin sat around 57,000. So you can see that it was quite a bad time to get into Bitcoin because we had another run up to 63 before we dropped massively in May 21, and where I had to learn my first lessons about technical trading, which I will talk about as well in some of the tutorials. For today, I just want to introduce myself a little bit, as well as what technical analysis is, and the first lesson, what tool I'm using, and yeah. So basically, as I said, started in April 21, so not having a massive amount of experience, but I went now through, I would say, fair share of experience. I went through quite big losses as well I had to take over the year or since I started. But I learned a few lessons and I would like to share them with you. I would like to also mention that if you're seeing this video and if you're interested in trading and think you can make fast money in crypto, to be aware that this is more of an illusion than a actual thing happening. I guess you get into crypto, people who are seeing this right now, I think the vast majority will probably see these kind of videos around a time when crypto is broadly covered as well in the news. Right now, as a bear market is happening, we are today is the 13th of October 2022, Bitcoin trading at $19,000 right in this moment. Most of you will see this when Bitcoin is probably around 60,000, 70,000, because that's when public gets interested in crypto or when it's covered, when big money was or is made. And I would like to really emphasize that this is where you have to be extremely careful about entering the market when it comes to the tops of it. This is what happened to me back in April. You lose your money, you lose quite a lot of money. You also make quite a lot of money sometimes, but really be aware that fast money is coming with a price with the high risk, and you should be really take into consideration that if you want to get fast rich, it is as I say, it's an illusion. It's not, and crypto is not any different from that. You can obviously be lucky. You can also go to the casino and set $1 million on red or black and make double the money. The same can be in crypto. But if you want to get, well, see this more as an investment and long-term opportunity, I would highly recommend you to first learn before you put your first money in there and really trade or invest small amounts in order to first get an idea of the market and how it really feels. If you have more of a long-term perspective and do something like a dollar cost average, I think that is great for everyone who doesn't want to spend a lot of time looking at charts and looking at the market every day. So if you're that kind of person, I think it makes sense to really, at the moment, at these levels, to already start investing, because what happens right now is that we're seeing really low levels, but I think that in the future the market will go up. It doesn't matter if we talk about stocks or crypto. So dollar cost averaging in is always a good idea. So if you invest every month $100 in Bitcoin or your favorite stock, you will generally have a better outcome than anyone who is trading it actively. Now, my first introduction for today, I want to just talk about what technical analysis is. So technical analysis basically is looking at the chart and price, like the price analysis of historical chart patterns, and trying to understand what happened in the past and how you can project the future based on past patterns. Usually we say history always repeats itself. It's kind of true. We're seeing it as well currently. We have war again in the world, broadly covered with the Russia-Ukraine at the moment. But generally speaking, war is not something new for humanity and in history. Probably if you're looking to other parts of the world, like Africa or something, war is a very common thing there. It's just not covered in our news every day. But now I'm drifting off. So basically, we're looking at historical patterns, trying to make sense out of that and using it. Now, personally, I've been studying finance in my bachelor, so nothing crazy. Um, and I've always been really interested in finance and especially in investments because I really love the idea of making money or putting your money to work in order to achieve higher money over time. And therefore, I really focus a lot in my studies as well on investing in stocks, not in crypto at all at this point of time. But now only through uh, dealing with crypto and investing in crypto and losing money in crypto, I understood all the mistakes I made back in the days, and I would like to share them in the next videos with you. Mostly, I will expect you to have the same issue as me. You will have to first make your own experience. You really have to get your hands dirty and invest your own money to understand what kind of investor you are, how risk averse you are, what do you want to get out of this. But just please just really bear in mind, I want to emphasize that making fast money is possible, but it's the exception rather than the rule. The majority of people loses money in this space, as I am right now as well. Currently speaking, I also have to take the loss I took. Most people will lose everything. Most people might even make money but never sell or make profits. And all of this sounds very reasonable to see it in theory. But in order to really understand what you're made out of and what kind of person you are, if you have your shit together when it comes to investing and your own money, you have to use your own money and try that. So make sure in the beginning you trade a reasonable amount. Start with $100, $10, whatever. Today everyone can trade almost everywhere. There are plenty of platforms available where you can do that. So bear that in mind. Now, I would start today the first lesson about technical analysis. So what I'm using, the tool is called TradingView. I don't know anyone who uses another tool. It's very sophisticated tool, very easy user interface. It is costing money if you use like a pro version or something without um, ads, and you want to use some indicators as well. For me personally, I bought a subscription during the Black Friday. They are quite cheap at this point. You can buy like a pro subscription. Last year was around $100 for a full year, which I think is a very reasonable investment if you consider using it actively, if you want to learn something, if you're interested in it. Other than that, if you just want to invest, you don't really need it. If you buy, let's say, a amount X every month. But everyone who is interested, I don't want to make any advertisement for TradingView. I'm just saying I use it and that's it. Now, when it comes to the technical analysis, you can see here the full chart of Bitcoin since 2017. It's nothing really, I mean, the chart pattern goes back until I think 2011 or something when it got introduced, Bitcoin. But important is the first lesson for today I wanna talk about is the candles and what technical analysis actually is and what you can see here. So you can see that you have your different time frames. Let's start with this. You have different time frames you can trade and you can look at. So right now, my favorite time frame is the daily chart. So basically every single candle we're looking at represents 1 day. So you can see here, this is 1 day, Friday, Saturday, 9th, 10th. So every day is 1 day, pretty easy. You can switch to the weekly time frame. That would basically make one candle 1 week. And you can do that as well with a monthly time frame. You can look at 4 hour, 1 hour. You can go down to up to 1 second, so per second one candle. Usually traders mostly use 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and 4 hours. Others use 8 hours, 12 hours. So it really depends on the style you want to trade. Generally, we say that the higher the time frame, so the daily time frame is giving you better indications than the 1 hour time frame, the weekly as well. Um, it's just a question of the style you want to trade in, so keep that in mind. Yeah, usually most what you use is the daily, the weekly, the 4 hour, maybe the 1 hour. And if you really want to trade day trading, intraday trading, use the 1 minute, 5 minute, whatsoever. Generally, what you do here is when you look at a daily time frame, you're trying to kind of predict the next 7 days what is happening. If you use the weekly time frame, you're trying to predict the next, I would say 1 month, 2 months. And if you look at the monthly time frame, you're really trying to predict the next 6 months, 12 months, maybe. Now, to give you a little example of how that works with the different time frame, I would like to just right now analyze quickly, very quickly, without any other indicators than the price itself on a daily, and maybe go back on the 4 hour time frame, how it works. So basically what I do here now is I am scrolling into today's time. We're seeing here today was actually quite a interesting day because we had the announcement of the consumer price index, and it rose by 0.4% despite the interest rate increasements over the last month. So we're looking at a huge inflation right now in 2022 after a lot of money has been printed. So you can see that this kind of price action is involved as well in our daily candle today. So you can see here there are big candles, there are small candles, there are these what we call shadows or wicks. I'm not even sure how it's called in English. But you can see here a big body, and then you can see smaller lines above. What does that mean for you? So here on the daily, for instance, we can see if you click here onto, if you see here, you can see basically on the top screen here, you can see the candle when it started to open at 19,155. The highest point the candle reached and the lowest point. So you can see that today the price is pending between so far between 19,155, 175 and 18,190. So the price went even down to 18,100 today, but it's been there only for a short amount of time, which is why you can see this is not really like this is so thin. You can see the price went down, but it hasn't been staying there, so it hasn't been trading there for a long time. It bounced up quite quickly. So the price has been today at least been a lot between the levels of 18,900 and 19,100. Now, if I go back, for instance, to the 4 hour time frame, I can see one candle per 4 hour, or let's even do the 1 hour time frame. So you can see here now that, for instance, the price bounced in our hour at 2 o'clock. It went from 19,000 down to 18,200. It closed at 18,395. And then here you can see again like what happened in every hour. So sometimes when you're trading, you want to have, for instance, do an analysis on the daily time frame. And in order to look at a shorter time frame to search for some confirmation for your theory you're making, you would go basically from the daily to the 12 hour or the 4 hour to confirm your trading. Now, for today, that's all I want to cover. So make sure you kind of understand what, if you want to be a long-term investor or if you want to be a short-term investor, what time frame you want to trade in. The daily is really useful, I think. The weekly as well, sometimes for making long-term predictions, and then as well as the 12-hour and 4-hour. Um, Make yourself familiar how candles work. There are certain candle patterns which can be analyzed as well. So technical analysis really is a um, art by itself. I will try to dig into that within the next weeks and months, for hoping to bring the topic a little bit further to you. Again, there's plenty of educational stuff out there. If you go to the internet or Udemy, there are courses, there are books. So you really decide how much you want to dig into this topic. I have to say, I haven't been a big fan of technical analysis before. When I was studying, I was always a fan of fundamental analysis. But since things like Tesla, for instance, happened where you had basically no numbers which would justify the huge market capitalization of a stock like Tesla, where it went worth more than every other sophisticated car dealer in this world together, um, I feel like the time really started to change over the last 10, 20 years. I would say maybe even the last 5 years that now since a lot of like everyone basically first world country has access to a trading platform which really plays differently with how the market works, because back in the days you had mostly people who really knew what they're doing and access to these platforms only trading, and today it's just everyone can trade, and therefore you have to look at the market differently. You cannot rationalize it anymore as much as it was you have done maybe 20 years ago. I mean, the same rules still apply, but with the difference that we have now this additional fact of people who have less experience trading as well. There has been some incidents in the past, like GameStop, quite a big thing. There is plenty of information on that. Maybe I'll cover it in another video. But really, you wanna, I think the technical analysis really works really well in crypto. That's my statement on what I have seen over the past 20 months. I know there's a lot of scammers in crypto. There's a lot of false information in crypto. Everyone claims to be an expert. So please let me say I'm not an expert. I don't know much about it, like comparably. I've done a fair share of spending time with it. I'm trying to be really transparent of what I think and what I do. This is why I do daily videos about it as well. But what happens with crypto is it just works really well, the technical analysis. On stocks, I don't really use it so much. I use it a little bit. It also works there quite well. What's great about crypto is it's just 24/7, 365 per day is going on, per 365 days per year going on. So you have no breaks within the candles or something. And it's just really, really interesting. So if you're something, is this something you might like? Please feel free to dig more further into the topic. Otherwise, for today, I think that's it. So the takeaway for today is that we have different time frames we can trade in. Just make sure to remember that. And in the next videos, then we will look at a little bit the support levels, the trend levels you can identify within the charts. They're always just indicators, but we'll take it up piece by piece. If you have any questions or any comment for that, please feel free to leave it. Again, I'm not expecting this video to be watched more than, I don't know, 20 times. So it's for my friends, I'm doing that, and for people I know because I spend a fair share amount of time with it. And it's also cool for me to make some videos, learn a bit about how I present the information. I know I might talk too much. I know already a 20-minute video. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't want you to subscribe to my channel or hit the like button because I generally don't care. So do whatever you want, but please make sure to not get scammed. I will maybe have another video really just talking about that and the experiences I made with all the scams out there. So be safe, make sure that you do not be easy on your money, try to preserve it, try to be conservative, and I wish you all the best. Cheers.